This edition of Breaking Bitcoin.
Welcome to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live in the studio. Today is Thursday, January 23rd, 2020. Folly of our Lord. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, whether that's YouTube, Twitch, D-Live, Facebook Live, or on Roku with the Investor News Channel app. This is your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders. If you want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in that live chat. We have a fantastic show for you guys today. So much that I want to talk about. Obviously, first on the news, of course, Bitcoin breaking down from its bullish trend, putting in somewhat of an almost 6% correction so far on the daily. We'll get to that here in just a second. Look at what the algorithm is predicting and telling us to do moving forward as far as price is concerned. We're also dealing with a lot of fundamental factors. A lot of people saying that Bitcoin's price should have collapsed a lot more on the selling pressure. Overall, we see some interesting fundamentals happening in the world today. The ECB recently reported that growth in the Eurozone is stable but sluggish, as they would not like to see it. We have the conclusion of phase one of the agreements between the United States and China concerning the trade war. We have the US-Iran tensions, which many point to pushing and helping push the price of safe haven assets like gold and Bitcoin up, leading us to a renewed knowledge that Bitcoin is being viewed globally as a safe haven asset because its correlation with gold has increased since the beginning of the US-Iran tensions. However, those tensions have largely subsided. Party's over, guys. World War III is canceled, and we're seeing investors decide to take profits on Bitcoin and gold instead of their continuation. Due to kind of this sluggish activity, we also see, for example, the coronavirus sweeping through China, leading to the biggest correction in the Chinese stock market this year, and actually since last year as well. And on top of that, we also have the meme circulating: Chinese New Year coming up, volume expected to pull out to take a nosedive from the cryptocurrency markets, and you cannot generally have bullish price appreciation without volume. And this profit-taking candle, significant plunge down below our level of support and breaking the breaking Bitcoin indicator trend, lets us know that more correction is more than likely ensue. And that's the action that we'll be taking this evening on today's close. CME futures were down this morning 3% prior to the New York Open, and we've seen follow through since the New York Open. So we're going to get into all that. We're going to explain that. We're going to be talking about the coronavirus. We're going to be talking also about the proposed mining tax on BCH Coinbases, on top of the fact that we have the halvening coming up a whole 1 month early for both the BCH and BSV chains. This does not bode well for either of those chains. Hard forks incoming. All that and more in today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Let me know how you guys are doing in the live chat. If you have any questions, the moderators will grab them, your comments and your questions, stick them in the audience engagement tab. We're going to do market analysis. We'll jump into the news, and then we'll come back and get to your questions and comments. So thank you guys for your participation. Thank you in advance for any super chats, for any tips. Highly appreciated. You guys are absolutely awesome. Support what we're doing. And we're going to get right into today's analysis. Let's go, guys. All right, here we are in the live scene, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take this off for right now. We're going to show that here a little bit in just a second. Bitcoin currently trading at about 82.88 over here on the Coinbase chart. And yes, we are still dealing with the backup trading view. Don't worry, guys. It'll be fixed hopefully by Monday. Still dealing with the backup trading view. Anyways, we are currently trading at 82.88. And if you guys recall from yesterday, what exactly did we talk about yesterday? Although we were getting golden dot continuation, we talked about that. Aggressive traders are going to still be looking for continuation longs off of yesterday's candle. That is thoroughly invalidated. I said whether we get a large green candle or a large red candle coming out of this period of consolidation and profit taking is going to predict which way the market's going to move. The market has made its decision, and it has decided to break down and violate the trend line. That trend line, of course, was coming in yesterday. We had the level to violate yesterday at 85.42. That level popped. We corrected significantly more than that. That's roughly where we were when we got the New York Open this morning, and we've seen nothing but follow through since then. Currently looking at a fully unshaven, a bearish shaved candle. So no wicks to the upside or downside. The daily has not closed yet, so we still can get somewhat of a correction before the daily, potentially allowing longs to get out at a better price. However, decisions should be made closer to the daily close, seeing what kind of information the market decides to deposit. Again, currently trading at 82, down about $5 since I just started talking about that right now. And we are going to be not only closing below the baseline, but also signaling a short on the primary indicator here. Again, we were in green dot mode. We were in bullish territory. For our initiation, we now have red dot. I've changed this from white and black. It was white and black yesterday, although the candles are still white and black. I did change the dots to green and red so that you guys could see them a little bit better. So same thing, just a different color scheme so you guys can be a little bit more aware. So currently right now, the trend has flipped. We have a new level that we need to breach if we want to get bullish again. That's going to be 86.90. A lot of individuals I've seen in the analysis this morning are calling for 8,500 as if there is something to horizontal support and resistance. I don't really, again, think that there is, less so than diagonal horizontal support and resistance. But again, that's the level that we're going to need to get up above if we want to be looking for longs. Now, if we get back up to 85, if we do get back up to 85.57, it's not going to flip us long. It's going to flip us into no trade conditions until we actually broach that 86.92, as I previously said. All right, so we've got interesting things incoming. Not only do we have a break of the baseline, meaning that hedging is the correct action right now. I will no longer be hedged short come the conclusion of today's daily candle, if everything is the same as it is right now. Still in a good profit area on my spot position from where I entered into spot Bitcoin. So overall, just from my initial entry, looking for about a 7% increase to my total portfolio value. I've had a few trades that I put on in the last few days, not necessarily with BTC pairings, but with USDT pairings. Take a small hit, but that's okay. I had more successful trades on the upside. So whenever the trend flips, we tend to give back a little bit of our profits, and we have to reposition and get short and then renew the profits on the way to the downside. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be renewing. We're going to be switching direction, looking for short entries on Bitcoin. Again, as I said, we do have the initiation signal. We have the closure below the baseline. We also have Water explosion confirmation. Now, we do not have a rising explosion level yet, but it's going to take some time. We're almost there. I assume that we will probably get that on tomorrow's next red candle, unless we get a couple days of chop following this movement to the downside. Now, I don't want to say that this, and the daily hasn't closed yet, this currently isn't one of those candles where it is inappropriate to be entering into the short based off of today's close. We don't actually have that much pronounced volatility to the downside. It's not that big of a candle. We can actually see this. Let's take these indicators off the chart for a little bit. I have to deal with these restrictions currently. Yes, I know. I've given you thousands of dollars over the year TradingView because Google's mad at me. You want to do me like that. Let's put the baseline on here. Let's also put Quadriga on here as well. So the first thing I want to show is let's just look at Quadriga. Here we go. Let's look at Quadriga here, and we're going to be looking for our short positions based off of the weighted moving average of average true range. And this is going to have us again comporting very nicely with overall the what I just said regarding the breaking Bitcoin indicator and the baseline. We do have a stop loss at 88.15 if we were to enter into the short on today's daily close from current price, looking for take profit targets of 79.43, 75.94, and ultimately down there about 72.45. 72.50 again is about the right thing. We've got a couple other indicators that point down to 72.50 as well on the correction. Now, of course, we're not there yet where we can confidently say that this is the breakdown that will lead us down to 5,500, 4,900. Again, of course, we need to broach some more significant levels, and we don't really make predictions like that. I don't think that I've talked about this at length before. Analysts who make these wide sweeping, ranging predictions based off of lines, they have no accountability because it's going to be months, if not years, before we actually get to that level. And by then they have all of that time to construct a completely new narrative. Again, we focus in actual day-to-day trading, monitoring the daily trend, providing that to you guys, providing that in more detail to our subscribers, and executing and managing our trades effectively. It doesn't matter where price will be in 5 years. That is an investment thesis. And although we are, of course, investors in Bitcoin, my bias is to the long side. So I still have the Bitcoin that I bought in 2016. It's in cold storage. I'm a Bitcoin investor. My trading account is a separate thing. Segregation of your trading account and your investment portfolio is absolutely essential. That also gets you in the mindset of the buy and hold strategy, which we've known over the last 100 years has been into a corrective phase on Bitcoin. The indicator and the systems are telling us that we should be looking and trading to the downside. We are getting the no trade. I was incorrect about that. I did have to take a second look at this. We are getting the no trade warning on the baseline indicator. So let's actually take a look at here and see why it is doing that. Yeah, we are getting the 1 ATR multiplier. That's candle size. Okay, sorry. So let's look at, okay, so traditionally, so let me correct there. So the candle size is larger than the current average true range. However, it is not below the qualifying line. It is still within the qualifying region. Now, typically this means the no trade candle size, that is there for conservative traders. So if you do want to be conservative, it's okay. It's okay to wait for a day or two to see if we get a pullback, to see if you can get better entry. Or in this case, just hedge and be a little bit more patient for the full risk short signal on top of your hedge. Again, when you hedge, you put your trading account into a no risk scenario. And for those of you who are not familiar with how to hedge, we have a ton of videos on that. Please check out the Trading Crypto 101 playlist here on the YouTube. It'll walk you through exactly how to do that, what exchanges you can do that on, how to set your leverage, and just exactly how to do it. But so no trade candle size. The candle size is large. The candle size from open to close is larger than the current value of the average true range, which is a conservative setting. So that might have you on the sidelines. That should not have you not hedging, right? That can influence you on whether or not to be putting in a full risk short position, but that should not be influencing your decision to put on a hedge. At least it will not for me. Because whenever Bitcoin loses the baseline, or whenever any asset loses the baseline, I don't want to have spot long exposure. So that's exactly how I will be handling Bitcoin this evening. And we talked about those take profit targets as well. And again, what a confirmation, not a rising explosion level. So we don't have the explosive movement to the downside. But again, remember, this is the daily, so we can often get that on the second or so candle. And that will lead to more extreme downside correction. So again, from current price, we have retraced a little bit, sitting at 83.02 since that low of around 82. What did we actually have a low of here on the Coinbase chart? 82.78. We actually broached the 82.80 level. So 79.53, 76.03, and 72.54. And open interest is actually rising over the last hour. We do see a pump in open interest. So this can often foreshadow a slight reversal. Now, I think it's unlikely that we go ahead and retrace all of this and actually get bullish on the daily. I do, again, this is why I wait for the daily close, because I do think that we can see a little bit of a correction over the next 4 hours or so, a little bit longer until the daily close, and get an upswing there. Again, we've got about 6 hours until the daily close. So 2 hours, about an hour and 45 minutes for the current 4-hour candle to close, and then another 4-hour candle on top of that. And I think that is also heightened by the fact, I'll show you guys the working alpha of the new indicator that I've helped write with senior analyst Alex, and this is designed to catch Bitcoin bottoms. Now, is optimized for the daily. So we are looking on the 4-hour chart, and as we can see, it does reliably catch bottoms. This has a unique take profit function. It is designed to be a tertiary or a secondary strategy that you run on top of your primary strategies. This will be out for the premium members here pretty soon. And right now, I'm just playing around with the visual interface right now. So if you guys look, just plotting kind of these nice fish with the fishing pole on top of it. But anyways, so we can see on the daily, it does a fantastic job of catching just about every bottom, that you would want to catch. The only thing that's interesting about this, I guess that's neither here nor there. So again, the bottom feeder signal on the 4-hour with this kind of powerful movement to the downside can foreshadow that we can expect a little bit of a correction over the next 4 to 6 hours, maybe even a little bit longer, but I'll still be looking for that hedge short at the very least, and depending on what the daily says, potentially that full risk short on today's daily close. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. Let's bring back up my indicator, and we'll get Quadrigo on here as well. And I assume we're going to be looking for a lot of shorts today, so we'll flip this to the short side. And as I said, let's go look at intraday over here on Bitcoin. Again, we see the volume delta divergence flipping positive here and here. Again, also another foreshadow of a potential correction. So I think that people jumping to short the bottom right now are going to be punished. I would recommend that you guys be patient, wait for price to push up here a little bit, see what the daily close looks like, get into your hedge position, and then you guys can play, I don't want to say play it by ear, but you guys can just look at what the data looks like on the daily close as far as whether to take your full risk short or not based off of the data. Again, we can see if we scroll back in time a little bit, hopefully Tensor Charts will load for me here. Again, volume delta divergence is a nice indicator over here on the Tensor Charts. And again, we've got some nice walls coming in here. So currently the biggest supportive walls have slapped up around 8,300. There's about a 200 BTC wall there, 8,250 and 8,200. So it's a nice buy zone there, about a $100 buy zone. Again, we've talked ad nauseum about how to trade buy and sell walls. We don't really have a significant wall up until 85.20, honestly. And honestly, we can see that there's some chunks of like 50. There's a 70 BTC wall at 84.10. But often what this means is that those orders are intended to be filled. Those sell orders are intended to be filled, and they're not intended to act as walls, because when they are intended to act as walls, you will see those orders kind of bunch up into one significant price level. Again, we only have $10 buckets here on Tensor Charts. So we don't actually have the dollar buy or the 50-cent buy buckets here on Tensor Charts. But again, it'll aggregate. You'll see those $10 buckets chunk up. And often when that happens, in my opinion, they're looking to act as walls that are not meant to be breached. Here we can see that these are actually orders that intend to be filled, which is more bearish than bullish. But yes, open interest on a little bit of the rise over the last hour as price is descending with volume delta divergence shifting to the upside. So I would expect to see some retracement over the next 4 to 6 hours, potentially even over the next 24 hours. We could see a 50% retracement of this move, but overall the volume on the move and the move itself is in my analysis what is predictive of the next larger movement in Bitcoin, which is I expect to be to the downside here. Let's see here. Taking a look at the broader market today, pretty much everything down. Weighted against BTC. Let's go look at our weighted against USD here to get a good degree here. Yeah, and if we look at weighted against USD, just about everything in the market down. Red day for the market. Even I myself took a few hits on some altcoin trades. Engine coin up 11.9%, as well as CKB. I don't even know what the heck that is. What is the CKB? Nervos Network. Well, a lot of individuals are certainly nervous right now. Bitcoin down about 4% overall, open to closing price. ZERP down 4.8. Bitcoin Gold, BSV, big correction, down almost 20%. Zcoin down 10. Matic down. Omisago, Neo, SNX, Ethereum Classic down about 10% as well. Oof, that's an ouch. Let's see here. And then again, if we look over at our BTC pairings as well, we can see some of the outsized gains here. LSK, Beam, VSys, but again, Engine and CKB, Riff, BT. Again, I don't even know what these are. BTM. Oh, Bytem. Yeah, I know Bytem. And never heard of Riff token either. And we can see Tether pumping a little bit. A lot of people flooding into Tether. Looking at significant trades, just since I restarted my computer prior to the stream, again, we saw some big sells coming in about a half hour to 15 minutes ago. And over the last few minutes, we've seen some big buys over here on Binance Futures and ByBit. So again, people speculating and trying to buy the top. But overall, again, yes, nice little bottom that we've seen. Nice pumpy pump action coming in from Bitcoin. And again, I would expect that to kind of continue intraday. I would expect the movement to be to the upside again. That bottom feeder indicator that I just showed is pretty darn good and calls the bottoms quite well. So again, on the 4 hour, we could see a retracement back up to about 85.60, maybe even, actually, excuse me, 84.87 is where I'd expect at the minimum that retracement to go. So we'll see. But overall, the daily trend is still going to be to the downside so far. So waiting for that pullback a little bit and then finding that better optimum entry, in my opinion. It's the way to go. All right, so let's go look at Ethereum. And as you guys know, a lot of this is going to be similar. Ethereum, interestingly enough, did not lose the bullish trend. And Ethereum is really interesting over here because Ethereum is not giving us the same sort of Wada confirmation. It was stronger than Bitcoin. It is holding up stronger than Bitcoin right now. It has not breached the baseline. The baseline is still coming in at 157.42, and we are currently trading at 160.61. So we've got $3 more to the downside before we even enter the no trade zone. So there are a couple setups here. If one is really aggressive, this is going to be a reversal baseline bounce setup. Remember that with Hall moving averages as the baseline, typically reversal baseline bounces don't work as well as the exponential moving average reversal baseline bounces. This will be covered in the reversal baseline bounce module that should be coming out this weekend. But we've talked about this ad nauseum as well. So overall, on Ethereum, we are actually still bullish. Now, we do not have golden dot continuation. As you guys can see, the golden dot has flipped above us. It is a neutral dot. There's no long trade to take on Ethereum unless the only trade that you're looking at is the reversal baseline bounce. And I actually would not recommend that one at this point. That stinks of a little bit too much aggression, a little bit too much wanting. And I think Bitcoin kind of serves as a better leading indicator for this. So overall, Ethereum is in a no trade zone. Ethereum is in a no trade zone, although it is not appropriate, in my opinion, to be looking for shorts on Ethereum. You actually shouldn't even be hedged on Ethereum unless you're being very conservative. So there's two types of ways to go about this. If you're in the no trade zone, you can be hedged. That means you stand a higher chance to lose BTC margin, but you're protecting your USD margin with more you're just protecting your USD margin more conservatively. If you're a little bit more aggressive and or you're concerned about your BTC margin, or in this case, your ETH margin, then you'll want to be waiting until confirmation of the bearish trend. So no confirmation yet on Ethereum, but in a clear no trade zone. Moving over to XRP USD, again on Coinbase, XRP is in a no trade zone. It is closing and trading currently in channel. So we're going to need to get above. We're going to need to get above 2262 to the upside to be in a no trade zone, or we're going to need to breach 2210 to actually be bearish, to actually lose the bullish baseline right now. So we are in a no trade zone on XRP as well, but for different reasons, not because we are below the continuation line, because we're not now above the baseline, but because we're in channel inside the Keltner channel that surrounds the baseline. So this is a no-go. There's nothing to do here on XRP. Again, those who are going to be aggressive with their USD margin are going to be hedging immediately. Those who, if you're holding XRP as a fundamental asset, those who are a little bit more conservative and concerned about the amount of XRP that they have will be waiting. Looking at EOS as well. EOS also, again, no trade zone in channel. EOS has been in a no trade zone since the exit signal over here on the 20th. This is something that we've said for the last week. No trade to take on EOS today. And LTC, my love, my one, my only, Litecoin has unfortunately on the daily breached the daily baseline. The daily baseline has been breached on Litecoin. More of a significant correction coming in on Litecoin, in my opinion, than any of the other assets. The largest move down coming here from Litecoin. Still on the weekly time frame, still quite bullish on Litecoin. We still have to lose that. That's the risk that I take with my fundamental position. I've been in that position for quite a long time, so up quite a bit here on Litecoin. So I have the luxury to kind of be much more patient with Litecoin than somebody who was just trading the daily. But for somebody who's just trading PTP or the more daily to daily strategy instead of the weekly, like I am on Litecoin, I bought Litecoin for a very fundamental reason, and I'm actually trading the BTC pairing, not the USD pairing. But those on Litecoin are going to be hedged if they're holding Litecoin. We haven't actually breached the bearish initiation for a full risk short yet. We actually need to close down below 51.89. And again, very similar to Bitcoin, we are seeing the buyer step in and push price up right now. So again, I think that you guys can get a better entry on your hedge if you wait until the daily close. And I think that you're going to need to wait a day or two for a little bit more downside before we're actually looking for full risk shorts and confirmation on LTC. So overall, Bitcoin in a clear short. EOS, Ethereum, and XRP are in no trade zones, and Litecoin is bearish but not signaling for a short yet. So so overall, what does this mean? It means that, again, you can be looking definitely, since most of you guys are going to be holding your funds in BTC, you can absolutely look on the daily close, assuming the daily close is bearish as it is right now, and we don't see some crazy $1,000 correction, which I think is highly unlikely at this point in time. We can absolutely be looking to secure our USD margin by opening up a hedge short, right? Again, refer to the Trading Crypto 101 channels. We cover this ad nauseum extensively. I think that for those looking to be very aggressive, they could be putting on top of that short a full risk position, shorting Bitcoin, but I would be staying away from the other assets and mostly just protecting yourself until we get a little bit more confirmation, until price action plays out a little bit more over the next few days. And again, remember, it's Thursday, so we're going to be moving into the weekend here pretty soon. So maybe the damage has already been done, and perhaps the better thing to do is just to sit on your laurels until Monday rolls around and we see which way the futures market wants to take this. BCN pumping. BCN pumping. We haven't seen any more significant trades come in yet. This is a good opportunity, guys. Thank you guys that's the analysis portion of today's show. If you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in the comment section. The moderators will get them, bring them to my attention. We'll cover those at the end of the show. I want to thank today's crypto comment giveaway sponsor, Spectre Security Coin. Make sure to go check them out at spectresecurity.io. Privacy and security is a significant thing. We're going to be talking about Peter Schiff here in just a little bit, but as we all know, Peter Schiff recently made a big uproar in the crypto community for losing access to his Bitcoin. And we know this is a significant concern. Not storing your private keys properly, not having good password security, just not having your machine set up the proper way, not using a VPN appropriately. These are all things that my friends over at Spectre Security Coin can help you out with. They do one-on-one personal consultations for security. Make sure that you are doing everything appropriately as possible. And in the cryptocurrency world, if you are not steeped in computer science or privacy or security, this is definitely a good price to pay to make sure that your crypto funds are protected. Tell them Justin sent you, and I want to thank them for sponsoring today's crypto comment giveaway, where we give away 8,000 XSPC by picking a random YouTube commenter from yesterday's video. So we will load the comments from yesterday's video, 6 potential winners, randomly picking one of you guys, and it is MrEther. MrEther, the man of the hex himself, my good friend. Get a hold of me in the Discord. We chat all the time, MrEther, and I will gladly tip you some Spectre Security. You can download their wallet at spectresecurity.io. You can join their Discord. The link is in our Discord, and I can tip you directly in their bot spam channel, whichever you'd like, my friend. But thank you again, XSPC, for sponsoring the giveaway, and definitely go check out my friends over at Spectre Security Coin. Also, guys, make sure to head over to crackingcryptocurrency.com/giveaway. We are giving away 3 months of free premium trading group access to our proprietary signals, our proprietary indicators, our educational material, our introductory educational material, everything that the premium basic package offers. You guys can go see what that is at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. It'll list all the services that we offer, as well as our mastermind support community. You guys get access to that absolutely for free. 3 months. There's lots of ways you guys can enter. Follow us over there on Twitch, bonus for subscribers. Follow us on DLive. Visit our website, join our Discord server, or refer your friends for extra entries. Lots of ways to win, guys. Overall, what was it this morning when I checked? 185 still. 5 days left in the giveaway. By the way, if you guys have trouble accessing this page with Brave, drop your shields or use Google Chrome. Unfortunately, it's just the way the Gleam plugin works and operates, okay? Let's see here. All right, so we've got a lot of news to cover today. We're going to be talking about the BCH. We're going to be talking about the BCH proposed mining tax. Oh shoot, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry about that. We're going to be covering the proposed BCH mining tax. We're going to be talking about the coronavirus. We're going to be talking about Chinese New Year. We're going to be talking about Peter Schiff, and all of that and more in today's crypto currently segment. So just give me one moment here, guys, and we're going to get right into it. All right, let's go. All right, guys. So first, quickly, we're going to have an update on Peter Schiff. As we know, guys, as you guys know, Peter Schiff made a big kind of to-do in the cryptocurrency community by losing his private keys. We do have a little bit of an update on that. So according to him over here on Twitter, my Bitcoin mystery is solved. I mistook my PIN for my password. When blockchain updated their app, I got logged out. I tried logging back in using my PIN, which was the only password I had ever known or used. I also never had a copy of my seed phrase, and honest, but costly mistake. And this just highlights, again, the absolute necessity for individuals to actually read an FAQ or understand what they're doing when they get into Bitcoin. This stuff has been, I would argue, so one negative argument that might be made. Hold on, I'm going to take a drink of this water. Thank you so much for the $2 donation, my friend. SpoonPower23 and Monjaliz, thank you so much for the follow over there on Twitch. Now, here's the thing. Some critics of Bitcoin would say that this stuff will never be widely adopted. It's not user-friendly enough. Here's the thing. That didn't stop retail from entering en masse in 2017, and it certainly won't stop retail en masse from entering in 2021 or 2022. It absolutely will not. Now, and here's the thing. I talked about this before. How many blockchains were created prior to 2018? Okay, because what happened between the genesis of Bitcoin in 2018? You had 2017, December 2017, the conclusion of the user-activated soft fork and the massive run-up from 3,000 to 19,000 on Bitcoin. So that didn't stop retail from entering into this last recent bullish wave. It won't stop them again. How many blockchains were created in 2018? So many more than had ever been created before. Why? Because the retail demand was there. And when demand is there, you get the free market that creates innovation. You cannot artificially create innovation. You cannot artificially incentivize in a sustainable fashion creators, manufacturers, developers to create good products. Demand, genuine organic demand from the market is what stimulates development. That's what incentivizes capitalists and and entrepreneurs to develop solutions to retail individuals' problems. And so currently a problem that we have, one would argue, is user-friendly integration, the ability to use Bitcoin very, very simply like you would a Facebook account. And that will come with the retail demand. This is how things work, right? This is the same thing that critics of all new technologies have always said over time. Oh, people will never use the car. But here's the thing. If you would have gone back before, Henry Ford invented the Model T and the production line, which dramatically changed the way that we transport 100 years later, 100 years later, if you would have asked individuals back then what they wanted in the realm of faster transportation, they would have said a faster horse and buggy, right? But we didn't go that route. We developed the car, and everybody said, this will never be widely adopted. There's no roads, there's no gasoline. But actual retail demand for automobiles increased. And what happened? The entire world changed, right? And the demand was there. The incentive was there for entrepreneurs and capitalists to step in and fill that gap and solve problems for retail consumers. And when that demand is there, again, just as with the Lightning Network, those things will be solved. So everybody asks, for example, this is something that Bitcoin SV proponents or Bitcoin Cash proponents will say commonly. When will Bitcoin solve these issues? So first off, we could argue about whether they're issues or not at all, because we could flip that script around the other way. But the reality is a lot of these things aren't issues. And the other thing is user friendliness or better mobile applications and better wallets. Those things will come when the money is there, when the demand is there from the retail market, just as it does with every other industry. So the price goes up first. The retail demand comes in, the price goes up higher, and then solutions are built. That's how it's always worked. That's how it works in every free market in the world. So it's absolutely essential. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but it's absolutely essential, in my opinion, based off of that individuals who are interacting with Bitcoin and blockchain right now understand, just read all they need to do is just do one Google search and it'll show you. So this blows my mind because I know that it was it Adam Back who had this, no, it wasn't Adam Back. Can't remember who had this debate with Peter Shiff back in the day. Eric Voorhees, even back in the day, even back when they had their Bitcoin debate, or the Bitcoin versus gold debate, the application that he used, it flashes at you, back up your seed phrase, back up your seed phrase, back up your seed phrase. So to not do that, you cannot blame any of the mobile applications. You cannot blame Bitcoin. You cannot blame the blockchain. You can't even blame Bitcoin market participants, because you just chose to not do what it told you to do. It told you, it warned you, it said, back up your password, back up your seed phrase, put them somewhere secure and never lose them. And he chose not to, right? Okay, well, you would get locked out of your Facebook and Google account the exact same way. So, A little bit more here. To clarify my last tweet, I was not able to recover my Bitcoin since I never actually knew my password, just the PIN, and never had a copy of my seed phrase. I have no way to recover the Bitcoin. So the problem was not a corrupted wallet, but me, he says but me confusing a PIN for a password. Well, here's the thing. The next generation of individuals don't make that mistake because we understand the difference between a PIN and a password. A lot of people are making fun of me for confusing my PIN with my password. I made a mistake and it cost me my Bitcoin, but confusing Bitcoin for money is a much larger mistake, and those who are making it will lose far more than I did. Yeah, nice comeback. Nice comeback, Mr. Shiff. Now, again, full respect for Peter. He's a smart individual. He's done a lot for the gold space, but unfortunately, this narrative that still comes from a lot of the gold bug community, and this narrative that still comes out of some of a little bit of the Austrian economic school is not good for the space. It is negative for the space. So. A few more updates here over here. I'm sure this is going to blow your guys' mind. Coming over here, Pornhub is now accepting USDT payments. So now you can cryptographically keep those secrets from your girlfriend. You don't have to explain those weird debit accounts on the shared joint checking account anymore. Moving on to today's top story, guys. Bitcoin Cash proposed miner tax could be a suicidal move coming from BN Crypto. Now, miners on the Bitcoin Cash network have proposed the creation of a 12.5% tax on mining rewards paid out to those participating in securing the network via mining in order to help fund development of the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem. Now, this proposal was published to Medium by Jiang Zuhor. He's the CEO of Bitcoin Cash's largest mining pool, BTC Top. Now, this Medium post is floating the idea of a 6-month short-term donation plan where 12.5% of the Coinbase award will be diverted to a Hong Kong-based corporation set up to legally accept and disperse the funds. Now, for those of you who are unaware, the Coinbase is the first transaction every miner writes into their proposed block when they are attempting to solve the algorithmic puzzle that allows them to have write access to write the next block on the blockchain. And the very first transaction that they write, in addition to the transactions that they pull from the mempool, is going to be the creation of new cryptocurrency, in this case, Bitcoin Cash, but this is the exact same for Bitcoin and Bitcoin SV. The first transaction in that suggested list of transactions to the blockchain is going to be the creation of new cryptocurrency out of thin air and deposited into their wallet address. This is how new Bitcoin comes into creation, and this is how miners are incentivized and rewarded monetarily for securing the network via mining. Now, the proposal on Medium suggests that deployment in Bitcoin Cash's upcoming May 2020 protocol upgrade. And this fundraising period is going to be running between May and November of this year, potentially raising up to 112 Bitcoin Cash per day in order to fund developer projects, which would mean about $7 million would end up going to those building on the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem. One would have to ask, are you guys struggling with funding development? Definitely not struggling with that over here in Bitcoin land. Now, the plan is being supported by several of the most prominent Bitcoin Cash mining pools, which includes Bitcoin.com, BTC Top, BTC.com, Vita BTC, and Ant Pool, of course. Together, these pools represent a majority of the identified Bitcoin Cash hash rate, but only about 1/3 of the total hash rate. Now, Zuor admits the proposal is controversial, and with implementation through a hard fork not being feasible, enforcement would require a mining scheme, which would see mined blocks not following the plan getting orphaned. Now, in Zuor's Medium post, actually let me show this to you guys first. So this is what the BCH chain will be looking like moving forward. This wonderful photoshopping. That's a really good deep fake. Now, in his Medium post, he states, to ensure participation, it includes subsidization from the whole pool of SHA-256 miners. Miners are going to be orphaning. Miners will have to agree to orphan BCH blocks that do not follow the plan and give the proposed 12.5% tax to this Hong Kong-based corporation. This is needed to avoid a tragedy of the commons. And of course, what he means by that is the fact that if only a few individuals choose to pay the tax, and if it's made voluntary, if something is made voluntary, then individuals will opt not to do it. This is a tragedy of the commons, right? The classic example is where, you have a food storage basket, and everybody is required to put in, but you can freely take from it. And then when the cold weather comes, we find that the food basket is empty because, of course, everybody is greedy and looks out for their own self-interest. So this is why game theoretics and structuring distributed systems or social systems in a way that incentivize good behavior and punish bad behavior are absolutely necessary, because we just cannot trust human beings to do the right thing. This way, with this proposed orphaning of blocks, the policy could be implemented without the use of a hard fork or change to consensus rules. Instead, this collective of mining pools would simply refuse to mine on top of blocks produced by those not participating. And since, again, they own half of the known hash rate and 1/3 of the total hash rate, they could absolutely pull this off, especially since the general consensus is that Antpool and or Bitmain and Roger Ver tend to own far more of the unknown hash rate than is known. Now, many crypto commentators were divided over the plan, with some taking to Twitter to object to the proposal and how it would be implemented, with one user, Whale Panda in particular, stating Bitcoin Cash implementing a 12.5% miners tax is hilarious, and anyone not donating will have their blocks orphaned. Literally a centralized totalitarian regime with a 51% attack threat. On top of that, Charlie Lee, of Litecoin fame, of course. Thank you so much for the resub, Mr. QC, my brother. Charlie Lee stated, this mining cartel currently owns only 28% of the Bitcoin Cash hash rate. They cannot enforce this course of soft fork unless they come up with a lot more hash rate, and it would likely lead to many forks. Adding such a centralizing feature in this coercive manner sets such a bad precedent. Now, the danger of implementing this arguably coercive scheme is its destabilizing effect on miner participation. If the new tax is enacted through a soft fork, with 50% of the hash rate eventually joining, the remaining 50% become alienated, forced to either fall in line and pay the fee or abandon the network, potentially hard forking BCH. Now, with the BCH mining network potentially split down the middle, it could spell a scenario in which both halves become vulnerable to attack from a single large BTC chain miner. Now, Zuhor, the BTC top CEO, also added that there wouldn't be any type of voting going on, making it distinctly different from the sort of funding plans you see on other blockchains, which have development funds subsidized through block rewards, the Dash blockchain being one such example. Now, he also suggested that participation in the model would remain voluntary. Quote, initiative is under the direction and control of the miners, who can at any time choose not to continue. But then they choose to have their blocks orphaned. Now, behind the funding proposal are several motives, including a typical tragedy of the commons occurring because only a few companies support developers, while other members of the ecosystem are free riders benefiting from development they didn't fund. Zuar also noted corporate donors having an undue influence on developers, which can lead to centralization as the developers become obedient and serve the interests of those who are funding them. Now, while many agree that the idea of fundraising community development through a tax on mining rewards is not, in essence, a bad one, the intimidation involved here with no prior discussion and the principle of no debate is antithetical to the ethos of crypto, and it sets a terrible precedent with horrible optics. Now, claiming that debate wastes time and resources, Zuor cited China's explosive growth in GDP from 1978 to 2018. Thanks to reforms and policy changes implemented under a central planning model, Zuor suggested this path of bravery and experimentation presents the greatest way forward for Bitcoin Cash's success. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Bitcoin Cash can experience the exact same explosive growth as the entire continent and country of China by implementing a centrally designed model? Is this what we want in the governance of our chains? And can we see Bitcoin SV following quickly behind this, especially with the fact of the upcoming halvening coming 1 month prior to Bitcoin's halvening in May? We'll be seeing the halvening for both the BCH and BSV forks in April. Only time will tell. Please let me know your comments in the section down below on this. I want to hear it all, guys. I want to hear it all. Now, we'll be covering, tomorrow we'll be talking about Chinese New Year and BitMEX, but I just wanted to also leave you with this. Here's a nice meme of Roger Ver tweets from prior to the BCH inception. Why do we pay taxes? It's because we're forced to do it, and if we don't, we get thrown in a cage. And taxation is a clear violation of the non-aggression principle. And then, shoop. Oh, we have too much fun around here, man. Take a sip of this water. All right. I want to say a brief word from my friends over at ByBit over here. ByBit is doing a $300 bonus giveaway. Anybody who deposits a net of 1 Bitcoin, not all at once, but just net from January 22nd to February 4th, will qualify, will get a $300 margin bonus. All you have to do is deposit 1 BTC from January 2nd to February 4th. You get an extra $300 deposited into your account. You can't withdraw the $300, but you can use it for the purposes of trading, and you can withdraw any profits that you make from it. So if you got a Bitcoin laying around and you want to make an easy $300, there you know how to do it. There is a link down in the description below, bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com. If you would like to register for a ByBit account, let me guys know your thoughts and opinions. And moving, what do we got next? What do we got next that we want to talk about? Yeah, let's go have a word from our friends over at ByBit, and we're going to get right into your questions and answers with today's Q&A section.
This is Jason when he first learned about Bitcoin margin trading on BitMEX.
Why? Give it back! Give it back! Give it back!
This is Jason 6 months later after signing up for ByBit with the Cracking Cryptocurrency referral link found in the description below. Don't make the same mistake as Jason. Sign up today at bybit.crackingcryptocurrency.com.
All right, we're back. All right, we got a lot today. All right. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 questions. All right, let's try to knock these out. Spoon Powered 23, thank you so much for the $2 super chat, my friend. And he asks, sup, Justin? Can you give your analysis on Chainlink? Well, yesterday we said that we should probably get on out of that Chainlink, is exactly what I said yesterday. That's exactly what I did. Let's go see. That was a good decision, wasn't it? Yeah, as we can see here, the breaking Bitcoin indicator signaling that exit signal on the golden dot continuation. I said exiting Link is a good idea. This is exactly the analysis that I gave yesterday. We are currently in a no trade zone on Chainlink USDT here on the daily. We have Wadatar explosion, bearish volume coming in, not above the explosion level, not above the dead zone. We are not in a no trade zone in channel. We are in a no trade zone because we're not qualifying for continuation. Unfortunately, here on Link, we're going to need to get above $2.72 before we can start looking for bullish continuation. That's going to be a momentum or a breakout continuation here from Link. We'll also want some additional confirmation for that as well, whether that's going to be coming from Wadatar explosion or something like Minx or time transformation or the initiator of your choosing or the continuation indicator that you're using for confirmation. Again, remember that the dots, the golden and purple dot continuation filter is a filter. It tells you when you can validly take continuation based on your based on ATR and your distance to the baseline. Not that you absolutely should. Yeah, Chainlink's in a clear no trade zone for me. I wouldn't be looking for shorts. I wouldn't be running for the hills yet. Again, this USD movement could be a correction, but with Chinese New Year coming up, again, the meme is that volume is going to be draining out of the cryptocurrency community. Out of the cryptocurrency markets, as well as a lot of the other markets as well. So pullbacks are expected for the next 2 weeks or so. So be a little hesitant to be looking for full risk entries. For me, Link remains in a no trade zone. Yesterday was the profit taking day, would have secured us from taking a lot of hits. That's actually on yesterday's candle closes where we exited Link at profit. Not a big profit, very, very small minors, you know, for the large part, mostly a break even trade, not gonna lie. But we definitely didn't lose anything on it. And now you're waking up to a 7% correction. So I would definitely, again, as I always say, if you've made a mistake, if the trade has gone against you, you cut your losers early and then you don't look at the chart because, you know, my recommendation is going to be to exit the trade because it failed. It was the inappropriate trade to take, or excuse me, it should have been exited upon. But then if you look at the chart tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's pumped up, but then it just continues to go down later than that, you will think to yourself, man, I could have got out at a better price. Yeah, you could have, but you didn't know a priori that was going to happen. So I would exit that. Thank you again for the super chat, my friend. Highly appreciate it, my friend. One Southside Playa says, crypto people stop panicking. Geesh. Chinese New Year does this every year. I have heard that New Year does happen every year. 5 times now and pumps after it's over. Monday, the pump starts. Chinese New Year is January 25th, which is Saturday. So bullish sentiment coming in there from one Southside Playa. It's telling us to calm down and that, hey guys, we're going to get right back to the races after this. Well, it is Thursday. New Year's is on Saturday and the markets don't reopen until Sunday evening, Monday. So again, I think that hedging is definitely the best bet until then because we don't know a priori that that's exactly what will happen. Ken D, but thank you so much for the comment, my friend. Ken D, first majestic silver. ZAG looks like it's close to support. Look at it. It's got support there, man. It'll turn around. Dumpy dump. Looking over at ZAG on Awanda, my friend. We're in bearish territory on silver, my friend. Wadatar explosion throwing up bearish momentum. We are in purple dot continuation. We would have got the exit signal and actually bearish initiation over on this candle right now. So again, believe this is exactly what I said about ZAG, about silver 2 days ago. I believe we've been looking at silver a little bit more frequently now. We didn't look at the precious metals today. We will, I'll try to definitely do them on Mondays and Sundays, as well as some of the major indices and some of the Forex pairs, at least the ones that I'm in. Yeah, unfortunately, except for these bull wicks to the downside, I mean, this is exactly what, if you look at the bull wicks coming in on here, this is exactly what we saw with Bitcoin as well. And the correlation between gold and Bitcoin has been higher since the US-Iran tensions, and the correlation between gold and silver is quite obvious. I think that some of the sluggish growth in the Eurozone is what's helping prop up the price of silver here a little bit, but it doesn't seem to me that the silver prices want to push higher for now. I do see some further correction incoming for silver, again, with purple dot continuation for short trades currently on the table today. Cyber Grinder says, if people want to have the freedom which comes with crypto, then they need to take on the responsibility, again, to manage their own keys. Absolutely right, my friend. Not your keys, not your coins. Crypto Jack says, it is a collective of miners and BCH stakeholders who incorporated in Hong Kong and will voluntarily tax themselves in order to raise capital to fund development. Right. They will voluntarily tax themselves, but it seems like they will also require others to also voluntarily tax themselves as well. Bob the Builder asks, question, if I were to long a currency A to currency B pair, but then both currencies tank to the US dollar, would I lose money if the dump from those pairs to the dollar is big enough? So you're talking somewhat of a question of triangular arbitrage here. So you're saying that, well, let's take a simple example, right? Let's take a simple example. I'm actually going to pull on some comments from my friend to answer this question. Okay. Okay, so let's say that you are trading, I want to give you a good answer here because we're getting into these things matter depending on leverage as well. Would I lose money if the pump from those pairs to the dollar is big enough? So let's say that you're trading any pair to Bitcoin, right? And let's say that Bitcoin tanks. Well, then almost always you have just lost dollars, because the quote pair that you're measuring the quote pair of the quote pair that you're measuring your wealth in against, because again, you're trading your base pair. Let's say you're trading Ethereum to Bitcoin. So in this scenario, Ethereum is your base pair and Bitcoin is your quote pair. Okay. So if BTC to USD tanks, then that means by default that if the market stays flat on ETH BTC, your dollar pairing tanks, because you're now essentially trading to a degree, ETH-USD, right? So, and since ETH-USD follows BTC-USD, just as XRP-USD and LTC-USD follow Bitcoin-USD, you're going to lose dollar valuation. Now, it is possible. So again, it depends on what margin you're interested in. If you're just looking to increase your Bitcoin margin, then this question doesn't matter to you. But if you're asking about your dollar margin or the amount of dollars that you have, then almost certainly, if BTC-USD dumps, you're most likely going to realize dollar losses, USD margin losses, regardless of what you're holding. It's actually fairly, so that's the scenario with not only in a jar, right? Like in let's say, in a quantum phase, or in isolation of trends in the market, but inserting trends into the market as well, we see that, it is almost never that BTC USD puts in a big red candle and altcoins just pump. Altcoin BTC pairs pump. Because when BTC USD makes a significant move, money flows out of altcoins and into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin moves the markets. So just by looking at trends and the historicity of Bitcoin and how these trends move in time, especially with other cryptocurrencies, if BTC USD takes a dump and you're holding altcoins, you almost certainly lost money. Not only Bitcoin, you also lost dollars as well. Right? So it's this kind of nice, complicated, convoluted scenario. Altcoins tend to do very, very well when Bitcoin pumps or is pumped and starts going sluggish. This is when altcoins will pump, but then the money flows out of altcoins quicker than it flew in, and it goes back into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin dumps because individuals are moving into Tether, or they're shorting in my scenario, because I don't move into Tether too frequently. Now, this can get a little more complicated. You can get into concepts here of triangular arbitrage. I think I've got some videos on this in Trading Crypto 101 that might give you some help. And this is a concept that I want to make a further video on, kind of discussing the triangular nature of these things, focusing on how much leverage you're using and focusing on what markets you want to trade and what margin you care about, because these are things to think about. However, just in a jar, just in isolation, we can say that if you're holding an altcoin and you're valuing it against BTC, and BTC USD moves down, and the altcoin to Bitcoin moves up to an equal percentage of the movement down in Bitcoin. So for example, if BTC USD moves down 4%, and let's say you're holding ETH-BTC moves up 4%, then essentially ETH-USD held value, or Ethereum held value to the dollar better than Bitcoin held value to the dollar, right? And you have not lost dollars. And in this scenario, we're excluding fees, right? In this scenario, we're excluding fees. Now, if BTC USD drops 4% and your altcoin pairing to BTC pumps 6%, well, you've made 2% in dollar valuation, right? Just like when you short Bitcoin, if you only short the number of contracts that you have and price moves up, you lose BTC, but you don't lose dollars, because when you settle the trade, let's say you settle the trade on a loss, you're going to have less Bitcoin, but that Bitcoin is now more valuable because, again, the trade moved against you by price moving up. So you're going to have the same amount of dollars as long as you only short the amount of contracts equivalent to the amount of dollars that you own in Bitcoin at the time of entering the trade. You won't lose dollars. And again, in this scenario, we're excluding fees. Okay. So good question, man. Complicated question, but generally, almost always, the answer to that question is, if I'm hearing you correctly, if I'm deducing what you really want to know, if you're holding an altcoin pair to Bitcoin, you can always sell into a different quote pair too, right? Just because you go onto Binance and you go to the ETH-BTC market and you buy Ethereum doesn't mean you can't withdraw that Ethereum and move it to Kraken and sell it against the dollar, right? You can sell the Ethereum against anywhere. Just depends on what your quote pair is. You own the Ethereum, you own the underlying, right? You own the base pair. You can sell it against anything you want. You can value it against anything you want. You can value Ethereum against the dollar. You can value it against the Russian ruble. You can value it against the euro, the British pound. You can value it against dog food for all I care, right? You can do that. You can value it against the S&P 500. But, being able to sell it into that in a liquid market is difficult, because the Bitcoin markets are fairly liquid. The dollar markets are more liquid, but only for the big pairs, right? That's why we have Tether. That's That's why Tether was invented, right? So it's a very similar scenario. You can stay on Binance. You can calculate out what the USDT value was at the time you purchased by figuring out what the Bitcoin to USDT rate was at the time of your purchase. And then you can look at, you can figure out what the Ethereum USDT rate was when you purchased Ethereum. And then you can see if you can actually get out for a gain or a loss, right? Typically not, honestly. Again, it all depends on what Bitcoin's doing, but typically not. Typically, if you buy FBTC, you lose money by selling into USDT because there's a premium. There's a higher premium with the USDT pairs than with the BTC pairs on average. But yeah, typically if you're holding an altcoin and you bought it on the FBTC market, for example, let's say you buy FBTC on Binance and BTC USD moves down, you've almost certainly lost money, almost always. Top Hat says, I'm sorry, Justin, if you haven't discussed this already, and maybe you don't want to talk about it. What do you think about XRP? Well, looking at the market, I did the analysis of XRP earlier. And again, XRP is in a no trade zone. XRP is in a no trade zone. It's in channel. It needs to it's not signaling a short. It's signaling a no trade. If you're aggressive, you'll be hedging immediately any of your XRP holdings. If you're conservative, you'll be waiting for the daily to close, just as it almost did. We need to close below 2209, currently trading at 2210. So we might actually be getting that full hedge signal. We actually need to be closing below 2145 for the short signal. As you can see, we actually need to broach this line and flip this to the downside to being a short signal. XRP USD on the daily on Coinbase. Of course, your personal exchange might be a little different. Those numbers might be a little bit different, but overall, again, I think that hedging and looking for shorts on tonight's evening is not going to be inappropriate. XRP just isn't quite there yet. We'll see what the market does tomorrow. Okay. Bitcoin's still kind of just sluggishly, languishly hanging in there. Hasn't really put in a big correction yet. And as far as fundamentally, I mean, I'm not a big fan of XRP. I mean, I think it's centralized. I don't think it's a fantastic coin. I don't think it's what cryptocurrency needs. But I mean, it's got a well-run company. Ripple's worth, gobs of billions of dollars. They're highly successful. And if we're just looking at what has the ability to pump, I mean, XRP is right up there with anything else, brother. Robert asks on Tensor, did you adjust the strength of the DD for current market conditions? Did I adjust the strength of the delta divergence? No, I did not. I don't play around too much on Tensor charts. Just use the defaults, my friend. Eli back. What's going on, my friend? King of the shit coins. He says, when you get a chance, can you look at LSK? Thanks, bud. Nice to see you back here. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for joining. Let's take a look at LSK for you real quick. Senior analyst Alex's favorite coin. In his words, the most pumpiest, dumpiest, whipsawiest cryptocurrency. We had nice, what's funny is LSK, very similar to Kyber Network, were on my watch list. I was going to enter these trades, but I chose not to. I cut them due to the other pairs looking stronger. LSK gave us the continuation. We just talked about this a couple days ago. I think we talked about LSK. Yeah, we talked about LSK yesterday in the premium mentoring session. Yesterday, we did a fantastic 2-hour live mentoring session. We're going to be doing that every Wednesday for our premium advanced, professional, and elite members. If you guys want to partake in that, you guys can, of course, check out all our services at premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. Really good group of guys, really fantastic opportunity to sit down, dig into the nitty-gritty of strategy creation and development, and answer their questions. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you guys for coming. Good bunch of guys in there. You guys are all fantastic. LSK gave us a rising explosion level Wadatar powerful signal over here on the 21st, and we were above the baseline, and we were getting golden dot continuation. We actually had the exact same thing on yesterday's candle. Now, we're not getting it today. So the last 2 days, I think, were valid for an entry here on LSK. We're currently getting a nice long-legged doji, still climbing to the upside. Could still be some room left in this for price appreciation, but we're not getting that golden dot continuation signal right now. We can see the dot has turned gray, so it's not valid for entry so far. We don't have any exit signals right now. We'll look at historical stop and targets right now for LSK. From the entry here, if we would have got it on the 21st, you already hit take profit once, so you need to move your stop loss to break even. And if you entered in yesterday, you're looking at around 913 for your first take profit. Entries today, we're looking at 936, 1006, and 1077 for those take profits over here. It's actually 10,000, excuse me. It's 9,000. Is that for? Yeah, 940 sats. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 9,400 sats, 10,090 sats, 10,790 sats. It appears to be, yes, 3 zeros. So, again, entry today, not recommended. Still bullish, still looks pretty good. LSK looks fine. The yesterday entries were fine. You're going to need to see price closer to 800 for a valid re-entry signal, and you'll lose that bullish trend. You'll lose that bullish trend getting that close below 800, and you'll actually lose the entire bullish trend on a close below 767. So still some room here to grow for LSK. Maybe it's LSK's time, right? Maybe it's LSK's time. Yeah, nice pullback, continuation so far. Volume looks good. Wadatar explosion agrees. Remember, altcoins can turn around in a heartbeat, man. But overall, I think it looks quite good. King of the shitcoins, man. King of the shitcoins. Also, before we leave, we got to give away some lemons to our loyal followers over here on DLive. I'm sorry, man. What kind of host am I? Throwing the lemons in the basket, my friend. Thank you, Da Vinci, for the lemons and the ice cream. Wendy for the ice cream. Tony G, or Tanji. Thank you so much for the follow over there on DLive. And Ali Perkin, thank you for the follow on DLive. Midwest, Crypto Da Vinci, Big Saintsy. Thank you guys so much for the lemons, my friend. Let's distribute these rewards to our friends over here on DLive. Congratulations in advance. While we wait for that giveaway, let's do the outro, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update with your host, Justin Wise. Hopefully you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Again, don't panic. Trade the chart. Trade what is directly in front of you. Hedging is going to be fully acceptable on today's daily close. These things happen. The trend shifts. We trade the trend in the direction that it wants to move, and we re-enter to the long side when it is valid. We talked about unhedging over a week ago, giving all of you guys a good opportunity to get some good price appreciation. Again, even closing at today's current price, if you would have spot longed with your account, you're looking at a 6 to 7% total account increase in less than a month. Go get that in the S&P 500, guys. Over here on DLive, Squeaky Tadpole, Ricky T, Wendy 2, Midwest Attempts, and Big Saints. You getting some big wins with the lemons. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, please leave them in the comment section down below on YouTube, and I will attempt to get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours if your question is germane. And we will pick one of those random commenters for tomorrow's XSPC giveaway, brought to you by Spectre Security Coin. You guys are fantastic. Trade safely. If your goal is to become a full-time professional trader, please check out all the services that we have at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Make sure to check out the giveaway page, crackingcryptocurrency.com/giveaway, to participate in the 3 months of free premium trading group access that we are going to be giving away in 5 days. Make sure to follow us on Twitch, DLive, Twitter. Hit the thumbs up button if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel. We're here every single day on YouTube. And of course, be excellent to one another. Trade safely. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time.